God is not looking for perfect people. God is looking for people that's going to say yes to his will. And you may be saying to yourself right now, God will never use a person like me. Man, I've done this and that, and I'm here to tell you none of that matters. Because if you look back in the Bible, God used every type of person you can think of. 1 Corinthians, first chapter, verse 27 and 28, it speaks on how God, he uses what the world considers foolish. He uses those type of people to shame the wise. And he also uses the powerless to shame those who think they're powerful. And so to be in that position, you have to humble yourself. Quick story. So I was talking to a group of guys. You know, we're having a great conversation. And we actually had a 2-hour conversation. It felt like 30 minutes. I ain't lying to you. And we had a great conversation, and I was pumped, man. Like I ended up going to the gym. I'm highly motivated. I could run through a brick wall, and as I'm getting this great workout in, a great friend of mine that I went to school with, he walked by, and we started talking, and he started to tell me how he's like battling with getting back into church and this and that. And so as I'm talking to him, man, I started stuttering like crazy. And and the thing is, I was using every tool that I've taught myself, that I've learned. I'm using every tool. And when I tell you nothing worked, and I'm like trying to tell him about God, and I'm literally I'm struggling to talk to this guy. And I know he's probably looking at me like, bruh. But anyway, so we're talking, and well, I'm trying to talk. And so like I give him a few scriptures and this and that, and he walked away. And so I'm like, God, what the heck was that? I'm like, God, what's going on? And at that moment, God was like, he needed to see you broken. And I'm like, but why? Like you use me to speak in front of like all these different people, and I'm teaching classes every other Sunday, and I'm doing this and that. It's like, why? And that's when God reminded me of my childhood pastor, Reverend Gordon. Growing up, I would go to church, and he was an awesome preacher, but every time he got done preaching, he had a stuttering problem. And like he stuttered. But when he preached, he never stuttered. And so me seeing him stutter and seeing him preach, matter of fact, seeing him stutter motivated me to want to talk. And so seeing my old pastor being used by God, I'm like, well, God, if you used him, I know you'll use me. And so at that point, I was like, all right, that makes a lot of sense. And so people have to see you at your worst, knowing, because when God takes you on another level, they will know it wasn't him, it was God. And so now their focus is not on you, or not on man, but their focus is on the Creator, God. And so that's my message for today, is to follow God. Rather you mess up 100 times, God's a forgiving God. God knows that we are a mess. That's why he turns our mess into a message. So come to God, because someone is dependent on a gift that God put in you, and you can't do a God thing without God. So have a blessed